Let's teach our daughters what is important, because we don't need them to have £100 face creams. Hi, I hope you're all well. If you are new around here, hello, it is lovely to meet you, and if you are returning, thank you very fucking much for coming back. My name is Alana, I'm a 37-year-old lady living in Scotland, and that is where my accent is from. And on this channel we predominantly talk all things beauty, skincare, hair care, lifestyle, travel-y, bloggery, vloggery bullshit, but with a liberal sprinkling of sarcasm and some might say cynicism thrown in on top. Now I do like a sweary word on this channel, so if you're not into that kind of thing, I completely understand. Please feel free to vacate, but if it does sound like your cup of tea, give a little subscription button a hit, give it a thumbs up, all that other YouTuber crap. So today's video, this has been on my feed for weeks now, whether it's been TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, wherever I have been on social media, this has been spoke about. I actually even saw it on national news the other morning, right? So this is the point I was like, right, this needs to be spoken about. I have some thoughts and opinions. Now, I have seen lots of people speak about this with regards to like Robert Welsh. I've seen Kiki Chanel talk about it. I think I've seen Jen Loves talk about it. Angelica Oles as well. I also think I've seen Kelly Gooch speak about it. I've seen lots of people speaking about this. Loads and loads and loads of people. Loads and loads of TikTokers' opinions, stuff like that. We are gonna talk about Sephora Kids. I feel like the majority of people that I have seen speaking about it aren't parents. Jen Loves obviously is, but the majority of people that I've seen do videos about this, speaking about it and stuff like that, so far the people I've seen aren't parents. And I just wanted to put my 2 cents in as a parent as well. But I am a parent to a 2-year-old, and you know, he's not really fussed about anything at the moment. But I just thought I would put my 2 cents in there because I feel this is a topic that really needs some discussion. I've seen a lot of anger and somewhat tirade and abuse and blame gaming of parents. And I have also seen a lot of kind of social media blaming as well. So you know me, I love to get my teeth into these kind of juicy topics. I even wrote some fucking notes. Do you like my new notepad? Got it for my birthday from my pals, so that was nice. But I've wrote some notes. So let's get to chatting about it. Obviously you can grab yourself a cup of whatever the fuck you like. My videos are usually long. I have water today because I just have already had 3 coffees and I couldn't be arsed with another one. So if you've came to this video, it's probably not news to you about this topic. As I said, it was on national news last week. I couldn't believe it. It's talking about the kind of surge, onslaught, whatever you want to call it, of young, mainly female people in Sephora. About how rude they are, about their social cues, about like their entitlement, I want to say as well, behaving, sorry, can you see my cat walking about there? Behaving sometimes like spoiled brats. And also that kind of thing of like, when you're young, you think you know it all, right? And I done it. I know for a fact I done it. I don't think I done it at 10, but I definitely done it. You think you know everything. I probably at 37 think I know a lot more than I do now. And people who are in their 70s are probably like, oh, wait till you get here. You know what I mean? Like, we all think we know everything at a young age, and depending on what age you are, youth is different to everyone. So for me, tweens, teens, 10-year-olds, they are all youth to me. They are younger than me, and I feel like there's always been that air of, I know best anyway, like, what do you know? You're so uncool. Like, that's always been a thing. This is not new to anybody. So what has been happening is that people are saying that kids are coming in and trying out skin products, makeup products, stuff like that into Sephora, wrecking the displays, chewing up testers like it's going out of fashion, mixing products together in pans, like not just mixing them together on their hand or anything like that, using skincare products and just like squeezing them all into each other to make smoothies. It's an actual thing, like they've been seeing on TikTok, and they call it skincare smoothies. I also have to just put a nod here as well that there's been a bit of a surge of young people on TikTok as well, like all talking about their morning routine, my 10-step morning routine, and they could be as young as like 5 or 6 years old. So why do we think this is happening? I think there are a lot of reasons why this is happening, but I kind of segregated it into 2 sections. And I was thinking, like, you know, what has always been there? Peer pressure, trying to fit in, keeping up, being like celebrities, you know, like copying people that we see who we deem as celebrities. In my day, it might have been pop stars, things like that, you know? So these things have always been there. I don't think these things are new. I have to say as well, most children, young children, imitate their parents. They do what parents do. It doesn't matter what they do, but you'll see them. Maybe they want to copy you doing the hoovering around about the house. Maybe they want to help you do the dishes. Maybe they want to do something you are doing. If I am sitting using a makeup brush on my face, then my child will come up to me and be like, brush mum, brush, and wants to use it on their face. Does it mean that he necessarily wants to put makeup on? No, he's just simply copying what I do. A lot of children will do that. So we'll take it from there for the start. What things have changed? Well, since I was a child, and let's just take it back to 2000 because that was 24 years ago. How has that happened? But 24 years ago, right? Social media. Has parenting changed? Lack of accessible tween outlets. And by that, I mean like, yes, shops like Claire's accessories and all that kind of stuff, but also clothing shops for tweens, also magazines and things like that. We don't really have magazines the way that we used to when I was young. In the year 2000, I was 13. So like, I'm actually talking about like back maybe 98, 99. So we had magazines, we had like other things for like kids to do, kids, tweens, when you're at that awkward age where you're not maybe wanting to play with Barbie anymore, maybe secretly you're still doing it, but you're not like, it's not cool to do that anymore, but you're also not old enough to be an adult. It's not appropriate for a lot of things that kids are doing nowadays. I feel it is slightly over-sexualized, and that is due to things like social media, but also has to be put down to some sort of responsibility on the parent as well. So I feel like there's a lack of branding for kids as well. Like back in the day, as I say, when I was between the ages of 9 to 13, there was things like St. Ives, you know, the scrub that everybody scrubbed their face off with, Neutrogena, Clearasil. I didn't actually use Clearasil because I didn't have acne, but I had friends that used Clearasil, and I remember there was like Clear and Clear as well, and the Morning Burst. Do you remember that? Do you remember that stuff? Everybody like had a little bit of a, okay, you get skincare, you're starting to be a young person and like a young adult, and you go into that. But there was brands that actually were niche in that market. And I feel like now that has depleted a little bit as well. Those brands are still there, but they're certainly not hyped and they're not talked about on social media. I think a big part of it as well is like, who are the celebrities now? We aren't just looking at pop stars anymore. We're looking at people from reality TV. Now, is that children's fault? I mean, if you think about it, some of these TV shows, they started back in 2009, 2010. These kids were born then. They know no different. So if they are watching their parents watch these things, idolize these people, I'm looking at you, Kardashians, then how do they know any different from what is real life and what are these people that we aspire to be like? Another point as well is like back in the day, I think YouTube started in 2005, by the way. I think it got to about popularity around about 2008-9. They started their partner program in 2007, which meant people could monetize and all that kind of thing. They made videos longer and stuff like that. Initially, you could only make 10-minute videos on YouTube. It was just daft little clips. But when they actually brought monetization into things and partner programs, it meant that people, businesses, brands could see a niche to get into. And initially that was just simply because YouTube played ads in between the talking that people done. But also normal people like you or I, people just sat down, made a video, maybe talking about their day, maybe about where they'd been, talking about life in general, maybe coming on and talking about what makeup they loved, maybe coming on and talking about football, whatever it was that they wanted to do. Music, people would come on and play music, and some of their big breaks were there. I think that was more MySpace in my time, but here we go. But I just mean normal people then became celebritized in a way. It's a very recent phenomena, let's face it. But if you look at a 10-year-old now, then they have only been born in 2014. At the height of YouTube influencer fame, when things got really, really big, especially in the beauty space as well. And that's kind of what we're mainly talking about here. I could have easily had my son 10 years ago at 27. You know, I had him at 35, But I could have easily had him 10 years ago at 27. He could be a 10-year-old now. And I'm telling you right now, between the ages of 25 to 27, I was absolutely watching YouTube and things like that. And does that mean like I wouldn't let him watch it? Not necessarily, but I'm sure there are a lot of children who were born around that time that did watch things like this or seen their parents watching things like this, and they want to, as I say, emulate their parents, and then also want to emulate the people they are watching. A huge difference as well, I feel, is that when I was younger, like, yeah, you got magazines, you watch pop stars, you were trying to figure out like, oh, I love their sparkly eyeshadow, I wonder what it is, like, I'm going to try and recreate that with something from 17 or fucking Avon, whatever it was you got it from. But it was maybe only to one show that you got to see on a Saturday morning. If people had cable TV and they had the music channels, then you were fucking rich and you got to see it a lot more often than I did. But equally, it wasn't like in our faces all the time. It was like if you were watching a TV show, a music channel, whatever it may be, and you've seen the celebrity, you've got posters of them on your wall, there was snippets in your life of that person on their style and what you wanted to emulate. To a certain degree, there was probably an element as well of what your parents would allow you to see. I mean, if we look back at like your Christina Aguilera's, your Britney Spears, all that kind of stuff. We went from Christina Aguilera being this very sweet girl, being all genie in a bottle, you know, all that kind of thing. Same with Britney. But very quickly, Christina Aguilera was assless chaps. Tell me how dirty she was. And I'm telling you right now, I'm sure that all happened while I was in high school still. I'm almost certain of it. It happened in very quick succession. And I'm telling you right now, I know for a fact when that happened, I was like, Christina is a badass. Now, I was a little goth at heart. I love my metal music. But when she done that, I was like, hello, who is this badass bitch coming at me now? Like, I am into it. So things did change quite rapidly, and that's even before we get into the area of like YouTube and Instagram and all that kind of stuff. But I suppose what I'm trying to say is that over the last 24 years, the speed at which technology has changed has been the fastest it has ever been in the whole of time, in the whole of humanity. Like, it's the fastest it's ever been before. And especially in the last 10 to 14 years, it has just went nuts. I think Instagram started, was it 2010 maybe? So it's 14 years old. Obviously TikTok's a little bit younger. It started around 2016 to 18. It's like the baby of the group. But these things have only started within the lifetime of these children that we are talking about. So who is really to blame? Is it the parents? Is it the brands? Is it bad parenting? Like, are children nowadays just subjected to so much that they don't know right from wrong? No, I wouldn't say so. I think that all the things that I've mentioned already, the peer pressure, wanting the best things, blah, 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 that was there when I was a child. People wanted labels. I remember girls getting like, let me put it this way, getting highlights in your hair when you were younger. I wasn't going to get that. I didn't get any hair colour put in my hair until I was about 14, I want to say. But I remember girls starting school in high school, and I was only 11 when I started high school, and I know for a fact there was girls with full heads of highlights. So their parents had obviously allowed them to do that. My parents were a little bit like, probably not needing that at this age, Alanna. You're only 11. So I think that is a big part. Like, it really depends on your parents, what their influences are, how they've been brought up in their own household as well. We can't just put it down to people are lazy parents now. Is there a fact that a lot of people put a kid down in front of an iPad in the last 10 to 14 years? Potentially. But also you have to remember, we've been learning in the last 10 to 14 years. I have only became a parent in the last 2 years. I know there's people who had children in their 20s that I am aware of. They were only learning. They were learning about this onslaught of social media. They were learning about an iPad that just, I think the iPad came out in 2010 as well, didn't it? So they were just starting to learn about what an iPad was, tablets, all these kind of things. They just rolled out. And all of a sudden, here was this thing that you could get 10 minutes of fucking peace and quiet if you hand it to your child. And now people are starting to be like, oh, maybe these kids have been subjected to a lot of shit they shouldn't have been. Yeah, well, duh. But we were also learning at that time. Us, adults who are in their 30s and 40s now, we were also learning at that time. Now, does that make it right? No, not at all. It doesn't. Do I think there's probably loads of parents out there, like lots of you who are watching this, who don't let their children just talk to people like they're a piece of shit, who don't let their children buy £90 face creams? Of course there is. Of course there is. I think there are loads and loads and loads of parents who, very much like my mum and dad, would have been like, mind your fucking manners. Absolutely not £100 on a face cream. Are you mental? That's potentially a bill for this month. Like, absolutely no chance. Have the parents' priorities changed? Because we have also been subjected to marketing, social media in the palm of your hand at all times in the last 10 to 14 years. Question that for a second. Because if our idea of normality and what is acceptable and what is a priority, what is required in life has changed, then of course it has also affected our children. If I was the mother of a 9-year-old at the moment, a 9-year-old little girl, this is very hypothetical because I think there are lots of other things coming in here where school, they're going to get a little bit more information. People might have phones at school. They see things there. They say friends getting stuff because their parents allow them to do it. I seen it too. Like, I remember, like I say, people with hair streaks. I wasn't allowed them, but somebody else who was a friend was. Getting a little bit of lipstick on. Getting, you know, oh, my mum let me buy this. My mum's like, absolutely no chance with fucking foundation hen. That's no happening. So that is still going to be happening. There's going to be the kids who are getting bought the drunk elephant. Let's just say the brand because we all know it's who we're thinking of. There's going to be kids getting the drunk elephant. There's going to be kids who aren't. Are they still going to want it though? That depends on the parent. That's where I think that comes in. If I was the parent of a 9 or 10-year-old girl at the moment, I would be trying my best because as somebody who does buy a lot of skincare myself and makeup, how can I justify all the stuff I have and tell her she's not allowed it? Think about that for a second. The way I would do it is to say, first of all, you are far too young to require this. Your skin is perfect. Your skin is really good. Again, that depends on whether it would be or not. They might be suffering from acne, dry skin, whatever it may be. But if they had fine skin, normal, 9-year-old, healthy skin, then I'm saying to them, this isn't needed for you. The same way my mum told me, you don't need all that, Alanna. You're beautiful as you are. And my mum did tell me that. And I'm so lucky that she did. She would say, you don't need all that stuff. You don't need that. You've got lovely skin. Look at your beautiful skin. And my mum would let me, if we're going to a wedding or something, put on a little lippy, a little blush, a little something, you know. But she was very aware of that was for events, not to go to school. Obviously, by the time I became a teenager, I was wearing eyeliner. I was a goth, like I was wearing stuff. But it was more of a display of my personality at the time, rather than I need to be perfect contoured, I need the best brands in the world. I just wouldn't have been given that stuff. And my mum would have questioned me on it. My mum to this day still questions me on it. I treated her to some Charlotte Tilbury stuff at Christmas and she was like, oh my God, thank you so much. That's so expensive. Like, oh my goodness, I would never buy that for myself because my mum simply would not spend £25 on a lipstick. She just wouldn't do it. She'll happily take them from me. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but she would happily take them from me. But my mum just can't equate that money, it should not cost that much for a lipstick. It's very, very difficult for her to like be like, that's the normal price of luxury market now. Like my mum just wouldn't do it. And I know for a fact that if I, as a 10-year-old was like, Mum, I need this lip gloss and it's 25 quid, she would be like, absolutely fucking not. And in a way, it instilled in me that if I had £20, and I wouldn't, even then, I'd have got a fiver, right? I would have been in a shop and she'd have been like, you've got £5 to spend. And let's just say because things were cheaper back then, I could have got 3 low-end stuff, like a bit more teeny, maybe like just 17 makeup and boots, stuff like that, like Collection 2000, that kind of thing. If I could have got 3 products for the price of one fancy, maybe, let's say Max Factor or L'Oreal products, back in the day, I'd have been going with the 3 because I was all about get more for your money, get more for your money, and literally more for your money. Now, having been such a hobbyist within this area for years, I am very much like, it is also about quality over quantity as well. And saying that, I would be the first one to tell you, you do not need to spend 40 quid on a cleansing balm. You just don't. Because you are washing it off of your face. I don't know how many times I've said this. Yeah, it might remove makeup really well. Yeah, it might feel luxurious. It might even smell really nice. But you are going to wash that down the fucking drain. You are literally washing money down the drain. Now, there might be different reasons as to why people want to buy more higher end stuff, for like clean reasons, cruelty reasons, animal cruelty, all that kind of stuff. Sensitive skin, maybe cheaper brands don't agree with them, that kind of thing. But I am telling you right now, as someone who has owned very, very expensive skincare and very, very expensive makeup, and also owned more affordable stuff, there is a lot of things you can get out there that are like for like. So why are children wanting the super duper expensive stuff? Is it because it's in brightly coloured fancy packaging, like Drunk Elephant again, and it looks almost juvenile to a point? Is it because they are seeing their influencer people that they watch on TikTok, or maybe even where they've found them from their parents and friends, doing that, and they just want to emulate it? Do they even understand what is in the products? The majority, no. The answer is no. The majority of them don't. I have seen so many people talking about kids going in and wanting to buy retinol, wanting to buy vitamin C, AHAs, BHA, skin peels, stuff like that, that quite frankly 10-year-olds do not need. So there's where the parenting comes in. We need a system where parents are going to be a little more educated, rather than, I need this latest pair of trainers, or I need the latest iPod, or I need the latest this. Again, all of which I never would have got. So that is probably why I am the way I am. My mum and dad just didn't have the money, and they just didn't have like money like that to throw away. And if they did have money, it was spent on things like a holiday, going somewhere nice, going for a nice meal, doing things together. I did go shopping with my mum and dad, and even at that, they would be like, listen, money can't buy style or class. You could have the most expensive pair of shoes on in the world. I'm going to talk about you Balenciaga trainers, because I see everybody wearing them and I think they're fucking horrific. No offense. But you could buy the most expensive pair of trainers and they could look fucking horrible, in my opinion. I do not think they look nice. I do not think they look classy. I think it looks like everybody has little carbon copy feet. And hundreds, I seen a 10-year-old the other day wearing Balenciaga trainers. Why? They don't look good. They're just what everybody else is wearing. That's why kids want to do this, because it's just what they see everybody else doing. So us as adults, all adults, not just parents, need to fucking take a little lesson from this, because kids are copying us, not just the parents. There's a lot of you influencers out there that don't have children. There's a lot of you YouTubers out there talking on this that don't have children. They're watching you. They're watching you. They're watching me. And I'm sitting talking about makeup all the time. But you can bet your fucking ass that I am not going to be sitting telling a 10-year-old, this is great for you. And do we need the brands to do more? Do we need them to do more? I had this conversation with Alan the other day, and because he's seen it on the national news, and he was like, what are you talking about? I was like, oh, wait till I tell you, Alan. He was like, this is just a pointless news story, isn't it? I was like, no, it's really important. I think it's really, really topical at the moment. And he was saying, why is it up to the brands? It's up to the parents. He was like totally on the camp of parents are arseholes. They need to just get a grip of themselves. The brands do need to do a little more work. They have to think about like who they're selling to and why they're sending it to, like, you know, the retinol. Are they sending it to an influencer who's 19? And then I suppose they're like, I don't care. This influencer at 19 has 6 million followers. Of course I'm going to send them the fucking retinol. I don't give a shit whether they're too young or not. They are not going to come out and have a 21-year-old or a 19-year-old say, this is actually not really for my skin at the moment, but when I get older, because then all their followers aren't going to fucking buy the retinol, are they? Brands don't give a shit about us, humans, people, children. They don't really give a shit. And that's again where us adults need to come into it, parents or not, and come in and say, listen, hi kids, this is not required for you. There's obviously age limits and things like that on the likes of TikTok, YouTube. You can have like a protective thing for if you're not adult protection, what's it called? Like parental controls. You can have that as well. But they are going to be able to see things whether we like it or not. I know that, having grown up in the youth of internet era. I've seen a lot of shit I shouldn't have been looking at when I was fucking 13 years old. But with regards to this, in the day and age of everything like this is so normal, so in our face, on the palm of our hand, at all times, we need to think about what we're putting out there. And so brands, you do have a little bit of a responsibility. I think things should be labelled for ages blah 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 to blah blah blah. Not suitable for children. And if there is a product that's suitable for children, maybe we just don't market to them anyway. I actually seen quite recently Glow Hub being applauded for the fact that they put up an Instagram reel saying how these are our products, these ones are suitable for you, and here's how we're going to educate children. And to a certain degree, I understand that. They're trying to take steps to be like, we're not drunk. I think actually the tagline was something like, if you're drunk on skincare, we're here to teach you how to sober up, or some shit like that. Here's my thoughts on that. I think they're trying to do a good thing. I think they're trying to be like, hey, kids, you're interested in skincare. Here's our skincare line. Here's probably what you don't need, and here's what you do need. But I feel like in a way that is almost like the temptation tiger right here. Like, you don't need this one. These are for you guys. These are for the kids. They're not going to want that. They're going to want the one that adult wants. They're going to want the one that the 25-year-old fucking influencer is using. That's ranting and raving about, saying it's giving them the best skin in the world. And so therefore, Glow Hub, I feel like actually, when it comes down to it, by making that reel, making that video, you're looking like you're very educative, that's not a word. You're trying to be educational. You're trying to be like, hey kids, you shouldn't be using this, you should be doing that. You're almost covering your arse a little bit. How about we just don't fucking talk to the kids? Sounds mental, I know. People will be like, but more information means more education, knowledge is power and all that kind of stuff. But brands, maybe we just don't see them as a cash cow. Maybe that's the best way to look at this. By making those reels, it was like, these ones are for you guys. No. Children don't need to be spending their money on that. They don't need to be spending their money on that. Maybe if they're in with their mum or something like that and they want to be shot at something, if it's safe for the skin, fine. By the time they are like 13, 14, 15, I get it. They're gonna have stuff. I had stuff. But do we need to make more ranges, more accessible ranges, like the Clearasil, the Clean and Clear, the Neutrogenas, the St. Ives scrubs of our day? Let's make them more alluring and more suitable for the kids of this age. Let's make that fucking box again where there's stuff for them. Again, I'm not saying we start printing all the magazines again. I don't think it's going to happen. But I don't even know. Like, I want to say, can we make an app that isn't TikTok that's just for that age? But then that is opening a fucking can of worms to a whole lot of creeps to go on that app, isn't it? We don't want kids selling things. Why have we got children at 5 and 6 years old sitting on TikTok telling me about their 10-step skincare routine with their mothers and fathers filming it and putting it online? This, because they think it is an actual career now. It is a career now. That's why they're doing it. Because it's like, I want to do that when I grow up. But we just cannot see the fucking damage of the fact that here is a 5 or 6 year old talking about a fucking AHA anti-aging retinol cream when they're 6. They don't fucking need it. There has to be a way that this can work. There has to be a way where we can make young adults, tweens, feel included and that they have a space, and that space is safe but also not exploitative. Not a space where it's like, Mum, I need this £90 eye cream. A space where it's like, keeping up with the Joneses, being on trend, doesn't fucking matter. I'm sure it must still exist because that is how I was brought up. I know loads and loads of people like that. A lot of my friends are like that. I know a lot of people in their 20s like that. So these adults, these parents still exist. And I can imagine if my son ever came to me and was like, Mum, I need this £400 pair of trainers. I'd be like, well, son, you can save up and get them. You can do that. You can do some fucking jobs around the house, get yourself a fucking paper round. Do they still have paper rounds? I don't know. You are going to fucking earn that money. You're going to earn that money because that is how they fucking learn the value of things. But we also need to make sure that they know These things are not priority. It doesn't really matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what is on your skin or on your fucking feet or what handbag you are carrying. It doesn't matter if Kim Kardashian has it. Or I'm saying that makes me sound probably kind of old now. Kids probably don't like the Kardashians anymore. I don't know. I'm so out of touch. But we need it to be less of a focus on these materialistic shit things that fucking don't matter. If you owned every piece of drunk elephant on your fucking table array of stuff, tomorrow somebody comes to you and tells you you've only got 24 hours to live. Are you giving a shit about all the drunk elephant stuff? No. No, you are not. We need to teach them about the important things in life. Again, I'm aware of how hypocritical that sounds because I am sitting here mainly on a beauty channel talking about a hobby that I like. But I am catering to grown-ass people who want to talk about the same thing as me. I don't want kids watching this channel. I don't want kids emulating me and being like, oh, I've got to have it because she... No. I would like kids to be like, oh, she said that one's like 50 quid, but the one she's using at a fiver, that's my pocket money. I could maybe get that. Because we still need them to feel included. They are people at the end of the day. And they are going to want to emulate us. But let's just try and teach them that materialistic things don't fucking matter. Surely that is what the issue is here. Social media isn't going to go away. Makeup, beauty industry, fashion, it's not going to go away. It's always fucking been here. Peer pressure, wanting to keep up with the Joneses, and certain personality types, which some parents will be, they're always going to be there. There are kids that I grew up that always had to have the latest pair of trainers, always had to have the newest phone. That wasn't my household. And I know plenty of other people who had a childhood like that. I know people now who have children who don't have children like that. So let's not just blame the parents. Let's look at society as a whole and how we can fucking improve on that to bring up better children. And specifically our daughters. Specifically the girls. Because this idea of beauty and what the standards are, body type, I was really hoping that this was subsiding. I was really hoping that actually people were learning to just embrace all kinds of things. I was especially hoping that the materialistic side of things of having the latest fucking handbag on your arm was going away. But this has just proven to me that actually it's getting 10 times worse. Let's teach our daughters what is important. Because we don't need them to have £100 face creams. What we need them to have is fucking education, understanding, street smarts, independence, and probably a lot of fucking kick-ass. Like, we need to tell them that as women we have to work a bit harder. As women it's expected of us. So here's why we don't have to fucking do that. Here's why that doesn't matter. And what we should matter about is what is in here. Let's go back to teaching them that. Let's go back to teaching them that we can do anything anybody else can do. Men. Let's go back to that. Can we do that, please? Would that be nice? What are your thoughts and views? I think like we're focusing too much on the fact that these kids are so rude. They're this, they're that, the other. It's the parents' fault. Oh, social media. Maybe we all just need to have a look in the mirror and actually think about what we are teaching our young kids and what we have been doing for the last 10 to 14 years. And as a whole, as a society, what has become the norm. And teach them again about how getting outside and visiting a fucking farm and going and seeing some pigs and shit like that might actually be a lot more useful than watching a 10-step skincare routine. Give me your thoughts and feelings down below. I hope this hasn't depressed you too much. And I will see you all again in the next one. Bye.